because it's something that you know and take for granted for knowing, but the general public doesn't know. Stories, obviously, opinions, but not just your opinion, other people's opinion, your competitor's opinion, your thoughts on other people's opinion. Those are all different blog topics. The news, yeah.
Sorry, just to go back to the customer questions, I've heard a lot lately, if you've been asked the same question more than 3 times, there's a blog.
Absolutely. If you've been asked it once, though, it's an excuse to blog too, right? Because just think how many people don't ask questions. Or they just go, you know what, I feel stupid when I talk to this person because I don't want to keep asking these lame questions. You know, like, I get people who ask me, give me your best prime rate. Well, prime rate, if you guys don't know, is a government set rate. There is no best rate. There's one rate. But they don't know that. But I bet you anything, there's a lot of people out there who haven't asked me that stupid question because they're embarrassed. So I've actually done a video on that because I don't want people to think that they're stupid. So doing what you think is the most basic things, like graphic design, what is a JPEG? Like, there's a lot of people who don't know what a JPEG is. Just go through a video and say, here's a JPEG, here's a PNG file, here's a GIF, here's the difference. And that is, people are going to thank you for making them feel not so ashamed anymore. Your questions for viewers, if you want to get feedback on stuff, like what your mustache looks like on you or something, ask them for feedback. I ask people to give me vlogging topics. I ask them to help support me in a charity endeavor. I'm asking them for things, which is great because it's creating interaction as well. New products or service launches, obviously, you want to talk about that. And then updates to old vlogs. Things change. If one thing has changed on a vlog that you have done in the past, redo it again and say, hey, just wanted to keep you up to date. Not only are you giving yourself an excuse to do another vlog, but you've made them feel like you're someone who's always up to date. You're someone who I can always rely on to give me the most up-to-date info. And then record presentations like this. You can record them, and if they're longer than 10 minutes, because YouTube has a maximum of 10 minutes, I did a presentation for a bunch of investors. I cut it into 3 parts. Now I've got 3 blogs for 3 days.
That's right, I think it's 15 now. 15 minutes.
Is it? Okay,
for YouTube?
I thought it was
Yeah.
still 10. But yeah, there's still a limitation. But if you have something over, just cut them into multiple pieces. And then, that gives you an excuse for multiple days. And take one topic and ask 5 questions on that topic. Now, for example, I'm going to use my industry, just because you guys all seem up on mortgage and real estate for the majority of you guys. Interest rates. Interest rates is a topic. But you know what else is a topic? What is a fixed rate? What is variable rate? What is the difference between a fixed and a variable rate? Which one would you choose, a fixed or a variable rate? What do you recommend? What do other people recommend on a fixed or variable rate? How do you qualify for a variable rate? How do you qualify for a fixed rate? How do fixed rates move? When do they move? Why do they move? Same with variable. That's like 12 topics right there, and all of them are answering a different question. And that's the important thing to realize. Have you guys ever been around a dinner table and someone's like, oh, who's in that movie? I can't remember. And then you're immediately on your phone trying to figure out what it is. Anybody else as anal as I am? Okay. Because people want an instant answer, right? So when you want an instant answer, you're looking for someone who is answering that specific question, not someone who's going, here's a whole thing about this movie. You're wanting to go, no, who was the actress in that movie? That's my question, not tell me, a synopsis of this whole movie. Same thing with your industry. You don't want to have broad topics. You want to answer questions quick, because if you can't answer them quick, then while they're sitting there with their friends who are wondering about what is a fixed rate, and all they're getting is what is interest rates, and they're filtering through 10 minutes of stuff, they're never coming back to you again. And they're not even going to finish looking through all that 10 minutes of stuff. So you're answering specific questions and satisfying that client's query as fast as possible. Organizing your strategy. Choose a customer question. First thing you need to do. And then choose long-tail keywords, which is a whole other presentation in itself. But to give you an example, does everyone know what a keyword is? When you type things in, you're typing in keywords into Google and stuff. So for example, if you're looking for cell phones, you might type in cell phones, right? That would be a keyword. A long-tail keyword is something more specific and long-tailed. So for example, if I put in iPhone 4G cell phone, that would be a long-tail keyword. Now, what is the difference between these two? One of those search terms is closer to conversion than the other one. You guys know which one it is? The long-tail one. Okay, and the reason for it is, if you're typing in just in general cell phones, chances are you're just looking for information, right? You're trying to help yourself figure out which cell phone you want, but you're not close to conversion yet. But once you're looking specifically for the iPhone 4G, chances are you want an iPhone 4G. You're that much closer to getting conversion. So that's what a long tail keyword is. And that's why, if ever you're trying to buy Google AdWords and you guys are out there trying to be the top of typing in real estate Vancouver, forget about that. You want to get more specific than that. You want to be Point Grey, Vancouver real estate, or something more specific, because you're hitting, for one, your cost per click is going to be a lot lower, and your chances of conversion is that much higher because you have someone who knows what they want, not someone still in the inquiry stage. Okay? Choose 3 to 5 points about this question, no more. Okay, if you're talking about real estate and a whole blog, obviously that's going to be like a million-hour blog. But if you're talking about the market as of today, choose 3 to 5 points and stick to that. That way your video will be under 2 minutes. It'll be concise and you'll stay focused. Consider the mood and goals of this question. A good example of this is if you are trying to, if you're working with a charity and you're trying to get people to give you money, chances are you probably shouldn't be wearing a Breitling watch. You shouldn't have your Porsche parked out in the background through the window, and you shouldn't have really expensive stuff around you, because then they'll go, you're trying to get money from me when that Breitling could pay for like 1 million families this Christmas? Think of the mood that you're trying to convey and remain consistent with it. And that's just marketing 101. Remain consistent with your message. Choose your setting and clothing or alternatives to you, which we kind of went through: screen captures, interviews, slideshows, PowerPoint, stuff like that. And what is the video for? If it's your daily blog where, every day you're doing something different, just make it look off the cuff. The less production value, the better, because now you look like you're just kind of spitting this stuff out and you're keeping them up to date. It doesn't have to have high production value. But if you're doing something where this is your welcome video that every single person is going to see when they come on your website, put a little bit of production value in it, tighten it up, wear something nice, brush your hair, wash your face, brush your teeth, stuff like that, and give it a bit more production value, because everybody will be seeing it, and that's what they're going to judge by. So planning and organizing, any questions on anything? I'm trying to whiz through this because I do have a lot of stuff to go over, but questions? Yes? Good? So here's the actual recording. I love watching YouTube videos, especially when it's something very corporate, and someone doesn't realize, on the back couch, they've got their underwear sitting there. They aren't thinking of what is in frame. And they're just taking for granted what their house looks like. They aren't even thinking about that because they're so focused on what they're actually going to say. So be very conscious of your background, and it happens more times than not that there's just something, whether it be that you've got a beer bottle in the background on your desk because you were working late the night before and you had a beer bottle on there. It's not anything bad, but it might come across a bit differently to a family, with 4 kids, and the mom's doing the research going, this broker's drinking while he's doing his video blog, it's not going to come off great. So be conscious of that.
Getting up the courage.
He's getting up the courage, yes.
There's only one courage.
Lighting and shadows is another one. Try to be conscious of where the light is hitting your face, and if you need to do a test recording of just a couple seconds and then check it out. You don't want shadows where it makes you look like you have a mustache for the ladies. Now the men might not mind right now because you're raising money, but the women, we don't want the light where it's coming from above and then our noses is creating like a Hitler mustache. So you don't want that. Be conscious. Camera angles. Small head syndrome is awesome. It's where you've got the camera too low, and so your body looks monstrous compared to your head, or vice versa. Your head looks massive on a tiny body because your camera's too high up, or if it's coming from below, you're looking up your nostrils. All these things that, again, you're taking for granted. You're not even thinking about how someone else is looking at the video because you're so focused on what you're saying. So be conscious of the angles. Know where your camera is and look at it. There's this woman who drives me crazy. She does video blogs, but she never looks at the bloody camera. And I swear she's actually looking at the flip part of her camera, so she's staring at herself while she's talking. It just drives me crazy because you're not creating contact with anybody. You're not building that rapport. So look at the camera, okay? Just do it. Especially with a webcam, you can always tell because the cameras are right above, but they look at themselves on the screen while they're watching it, and you're just like, it's just really funny. So sound and volume, again, the wind, noise, dogs in the background, stuff like that, but also that your own projection is coming across. You may not know that you mumble, and even when you watch yourself, you might notice that you, or might not notice that you mumble, but other people do find that you do. So ask for other people's feedback. Colors and patterns, camera settings, clothing, don't have your shirt the same color as your background, stuff like that. And this is the biggest trick that I did in the beginning when I was getting started. Right behind my camera I had a small whiteboard, my 3 to 5 points on it. So if ever you feel like you've lost train of thought or you can't remember what your next point was or something like that, you've got that as a backup. It's right behind your camera, so nobody notices when you're just, it looks like you're just thinking for a second, right? You're like, oh yeah, that's my next topic, you know? But they don't, it doesn't look as bad as someone who, for example, there's other people who do blogs and they've got their notes right out in front of them. Well, what that's doing is people are second guessing whether you actually know what you're talking about. So they're like, why do you have to look this up? You know, don't you know what you're talking about? So having the notes behind you is a good backup to keep you focused. Make sure that you're staying on track and not going on tangents, but still keeping your credibility there. Make sure your props are on hand. It always sucks when you get started and you go to show them something and it's in the other room, so get that going. And don't be fake and don't stage too much. There's this one guy, actually a lot of you probably actually know, he did a blog that was actually him sitting in a hot tub with wine and a chicken in a bikini talking about juice. And that was very fake, obviously, you know, like a little staged. Do you guys know him? I don't know. No, it wasn't him. But he's a young kid, and he actually apparently does very well. But with videos like that, again, it's not staying consistent with your message to your target audience, unless that is his target audience. But it's also looking very staged, you know. There's also people who I see where, you know, they've conveniently got their car parked out in the window, and they've got boards stacked up all along, you know, the back wall and stuff, and it's looking too staged. It's looking like you're insecure about something, but also just being put off. You don't want to seem out of reach to your clients. You want to seem attainable to people, like you can talk on their level and not talk down to them. So don't stage, don't be fake, be yourself. Content, as I mentioned, 2 to 4 minutes, tops, especially to start. Don't do anything more than that for like at least a few months. And 3 to 5 points per topic. Don't cover everything in one blog. And your first line of your blog, besides introducing yourself, should be the question you're going to answer. Because again, someone's not going to wait until the end of the blog to find out what it was you were telling them. They want to know now so that they don't waste the next 2 minutes or 5 minutes of their life listening to you talk about something they don't really care about. So that should be your first question. Strong closing. Always thank them. And also in Sales 101, what are we always told when you're closing up your sales presentation?
Ask for the sale.
You betcha. So if you're not telling them to donate, if you're not telling them to give you a call if they have a mortgage they need renewed, if you're not telling them to call you if you have yourself or your house up for sale or something like that, if you're not telling them to do this, they aren't going to act. You need that call to action. And always put your contact info, of course, on there too. What's nice about the videos is it can be a frozen screen, so they can, you know, put it on pause and write down your info. Ask your customers questions. Don't flaunt your knowledge. You know, just again staying attainable to them.